That's right, my name is Kati, Texas, and I am an artist. That means I make art, I teach art, I create opportunities for other people to make and teach and love art. And I was looking for a topic for this talk I was asked to give. I was looking around and looking at some of my favorite paintings. And I came across a painting by one of my favorite artists, Vincent van Gogh. And it is this one. It's called The Flowering Plum Tree. I don't know if you're familiar with Van Gogh, but this doesn't look like many of his other paintings. It looks very, very different. And that's because it's a copy of another piece of art. You see, Van Gogh was fascinated by Japanese woodcuts, so he took some and he was copying them in order to familiarize himself with the style. So he copied this woodcut by an artist named Shige. You can see how very, very similar they are. Now, Van Gogh was copying Shige, but Shige was copying another artist, not another painter or another woodcutter, but a bonsai artist. Van Gogh used canvas and oil and pigment and brushes. Shige used wood blocks and chisels and knives and paper and ink. But the bonsai master used living trees. Have you ever seen a bonsai tree? They're tiny little things. Do you know how they get that way? How is it that they get those giant trees to be so tiny? Shrink ray? Maybe? Perhaps some gene splicing or selective tree breeding. Now, are these special trees? Anybody? No, that's right. They are not special trees. Bonsai trees are made out of ordinary trees. They're taken from seeds or cuttings from young trees, and then they are trained. They're forced to be smaller than they ordinarily would be. A bonsai artist takes a tree and they put it into a tiny little pot. They control its exposure to light and water. They cut off the branches that reach out with clippers and cutters. They cut off the roots when they try to spread out. And they'll even take wire and wrap it around the trunk and wrap it around the branches of the tree in order to force the tree into the controlled shape that the artist wants to see. Does that sound cruel? I mean, to the trees? Oh, maybe, maybe not. But what if those trees were people? I might be a little worried. What if you could take a person and turn them into a tiny, miniature little version of themselves by cutting off their tendrils, by keeping them in tiny little boxes? Well, it turns out you can. You can totally do that, and people do it every single day. And I'm not talking about some horror movie scenario here, Saw 19, the clipping. I'm talking about the way that we talk to each other. Has anybody here ever been told they can't do something because they're a girl? Yeah, definitely. How about you can't do that because you're a boy? Definitely happens to them too. How about that's too ambitious? You're never going to stick with that all the way through the end. That's too expensive. It's just never going to work out. You're too clumsy to play football. You're too small to play basketball. You're too fat to dance. If you keep being so weird, no one's going to like you. Just when you want to reach outside your comfort zone, just when you want to put one questing little tendril over the edge, along comes some pair of clippers to tell you why it can't be done. Oh, well, I'd like to make a bold statement here. Actually, I just want to say something for clarity's sake. People are not trees. Trees might be people, and I think we might have gotten to that earlier, but for the sake of my metaphor, I'm going to keep talking to you like you're trees. Is that okay? Is that good? I was practicing this talk for one of my students, and she said, "What's a metaphor?" And I said, "Well, that's where the cows graze." Oh, yeah. The point is, it's no good to be pushing each other back into our little spaces, cramming each other in tiny little pots, clipping each other's tendrils off. It doesn't do any good. Don't bonsai me. Don't bonsai each other. And most importantly, don't bonsai yourself. That's right. But Miss Texas, don't people need direction? Aren't I helping somebody by telling them which way not to go? I say no. Does anybody tell the redwood trees which way not to grow? No, because they know which way they are supposed to grow, right towards the sun, or right towards the brightest part of the fog. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to other people, don't be the clippers. Be the sun. So how do you do that? How do you be the sun? Well, as you might imagine, I brought some ideas with me. The first idea I have is to celebrate uniqueness. Fitting in may be an easier way to grow up, but it makes for some pretty boring adults. And there's no such thing as normal anyway, which we learned earlier, so there's no point in trying for it. Plus, all the freaky people make the beauty of the world. My second idea is to seek out hidden strengths. Some strengths are right up front. But when you're looking, when you're actively trying to find strengths in other people, you're going to find something they didn't know was there. And then that girl, who is very pretty and has a lovely singing voice, it turns out that she's also a really good problem solver. And that boy who is funny, yeah, he hears that all the time. You might be the person who discovers and helps him discover that he's a supportive and helpful friend. Idea next. Be the person you want other people to look up to. I saw a t-shirt the other day, it said, be the person your dog thinks you are. And I like that, because you are a role model. I'm a role model. Everyone in here is a role model. Whether you are 7 or you are 70, there is somebody who is looking up to you right now. Does that mean you need to be perfect? No, of course not. There is no more such a thing as perfect than there is such a thing as normal. But you're human, and you try. And it's the trying that's important. Those people that are looking up to you, they're going to see you try. They will see you fail. And then they're going to see what you do next. And those are my ideas. I'm sure you can come up with some more. There's plenty of other things you can do to help people become the full-grown tree people that they can be. But next time somebody looks to you, and if somebody is looking at you, they are looking to you. So the next time you interact with a person, next time you talk to your friends or your family, to your parents, to your teachers, to your students, the next time someone looks to you, don't be the clippers. Be the sun.